Sanibonani. Igama lami nguSiboniswa kaMajola, acting HOD kaPublic Works kwaZulu Natal. Nginikezwe umsebenzi omkhulu okuphatha uhlelo lanamhlanje. Asibonge nje ukuthi sikhona sonke la phakathi kwethu. Ngizobingelela umhlonishwa ophakathi kwethu MEC uSibiya. Ngiphinde ngibingelele ubaba uMeya uMhlongo okuyena ophethe umasipala uMhlathuze. Siyazi ukuthi masikhuluma ngomhlathuze sikhuluma nge-economic hub yakwaZulu Natal okuyiyona futhi esisizayo emnothweni ukuthi ufukuleke ngaso sonke isikhathi. Ngibingelele u-HOD, ngiyambona ugwabeni wa-Human Settlement uZungu okhona phakathi kwethu. Oza kwethu abanye abakhona ngokwahlukahlukana kweminyango yomibili u-Human Settlement no-Public Works. Ngingekhohlwa uma ngabe kukhona amakhansela akhona phakathi kwethu. Ngibonile futhi nobuholi beqembu elibusayo kwaZulu Natal ubukhona kule region. Ngimbonile ubaba uGwala phakathi kwethu. Ngaphandle kokuchitha isikhathi imedia yonke ekhona phakathi kwethu siyayimukela nayo kakhulu. Bese kuba i-NPO zamani siyanibingelela kakhulu, noma ngabe kukhona nomunye umphakathi amalungu omphakathi akhona siyabingelela kakhulu. Ngaphandle kokuchitha isikhathi ngizomukela ubaba uMeya ukuba asamukele ekhaya la eMhlathuze sizokwazi ukuthi sizizwe sifudumele. Baba Meya.
Mphatho hlelo baba uMajola, siyabingelela kuwena phinde aphathiswe ukubamba umnyango ngasesayidini le-administration. Sifisa ukubingelela uMEC baba uSibiya, uMEC wakwa-Human Settlements nakwa-Public Works. Sifisa-ke ukuthi sibingelele also ukhansela baba uMthembu. Baba uMthembu ke neyigqoke ezimbili phinda abe ukhansela khona la. Kodwa ikhansela siyaphela i-term of office Mvelasi. Abantu bangaze bakusebenze. Sibingelela nama-ward committees okungenzeka ukuthi akhona la. Nabo bonke nje abanye esisebenza nabo abasebenzi bakahulumeni kusukela kuhulumeni we-province kuze kuye kuhulumeni waku-local abakhona la. Siyabingelela futhi leadership ye-African National Congress unobhala Comrade Dutoli Gwala. Sibingelele umphakathi nje okhona la nabantu abasebenza lapha ngaphansi kwesakhiwo senhlangano izamani. Sibingelele neintatheli nabo bonke abacosheli beindaba abakhona la. Ngingawashina amaphoyisa, ngiyabona ukuthi hayi khona amaphoyisa lapha amaningi, siyafisa ukwabingelela nawo. Phatho hlelo, kuyintokozo enkulu ukuthi sibe la namhlanje sihambisana no-MEC. Bese ke kuphinde kuqondana nokuthi ngoba ke uMEC osamusha kuqondane nalapho eqeda khona insuku nje ezu100 ewu-MEC. Siyafisa ukuthi sibongele lenhlangano ebusayo eyabona ukuthi ingakwazi ukuthi kulesi sikhashana ikusebenzise ukuze sisebenzele umphakathi. Silapha ke ukuzokwenza umsebenzi omfishane kodwa owumsebenzi obalekile. Umlando waseNingizimu Afrika uyasikhumbuza ukuthi abantu abamnyama baphile centuries, kushuthi iminyaka engamakhulu cishe amane bephila impilo yokungabi nayo into okuthiwa i-ownership, benga owni lutho. Enye yemzabalazo eyayenza ukuthi silwele inkululeko kwakuwukuthi kubalekile ukuthi siwuthole umhlaba wethu. So namhlanje ke sihamba ngalowo mcimbi wokuzobuyisela okwabantu kubantu, wokuzobuyisela isidima kubantu sokuthi umuntu omnyama ezweni lakhe angaqhubeki nokuthi afane nesiqashi. So siyafuna ukuthi ubonge nje umnyango ophethe Sotobe ukuthi wenze umsebenzi omhle kangaka. Sifisa futhi ukubongela iNGO yakazamani ukuthi ithole ukuthi ihlonipheke kuleli zinga elingaka. Bafowethu bonke laba abasebenza la ekhaya abafananga ke nabanye, kuyenzeka abanye bathola uxhaso, abantu bakithi kusetshenzwe inyanga eyodwa kufuneka ama dividends kuthiwa yakuhlukaniswa kwayona imishini leyo kuhanjwa. So siyabonga sekuneminyaka impela sibazi bekhona besebenzela kule ndawo. Ingakho ke namhlanje sithe asikwazi ukuthi singabi ingxenye MEC yokuthi uzo handover lesakhiwo esihle kangaka. Okugcina sifuna ukuthi sibongele umphakathi wasesikhaleni ungeminye yemphakathi ebalekile emlandweni walapha kule region ekuthiwa iMosadlala, ukuze lo mphakathi ungacwili entweni embi nengamela iSouth Africa yonke yodlame oluphekeka emalokishini, whether kungabe lokuhlukumeza omama, whether kungaba udlame lokuhlukumeza imindeni ngokugqekezwa, ukubhenywa kwama-drugs nazo zonke izinto. Kuyofuneka abantu emakhaya lapho esihlezi khona baqale bazisebenze bona. Amanye amazwe aspecialize ngokuthi umnotho ucirculate kayishumi endaweni eyodwa before uphume. Ungaya kumaJuda namhlanje bawuvalile umnotho, uqamba uphuma nje kodwa ususebenzile. So izakhiwo njengalezi ilapho khona okuyoqala khona ukufukulwa komnotho emalokishini, ukuze amalokishi ethu angabi indawo zokuzolala kuphela endlaleni, ngoba imali eningi iphela siqasha imoto ezisisa emsebenzini or amatekisi esiwagibelayo ukuya emsebenzini. So ke ngiyazi ke ukuthi lokho MEC azokwenza namhlanje kuyingxenye ezokwenza ukuthi nize nikwazi ukuthi ni contribute your small part ekuthenini izwe lakithi liqhubeke liye phambili. So benginikezwe nje lelo thuba lokuthi ngisho amazwi amabili amathathu njengengxenye yokwamukela umnyango no-MEC osekhona phakathi kwethu. U-MEC ke ngizosale sengimethula. U-MEC ke akuyena umuntu okufuneka size simethule isikhathi eside. Omunye wezishabasheki zomzabalazo nenkululeko yakithi lapha eNingizimu Afrika, okhulele ngaphakathi enhlanganweni noma embuthweni wesizwe eseva kuma structures kusukela enhlakeni zesikole zangaphakathi ezikoleni lapho esisuke khona sifunda khona, waqhubeka waseva kuma structures ANC Youth League nokuyi uphiko lwabantu abasha bombutho wesizwe. Waqhubeka njengamanje useva laphayana ebuhowe komiti lezemfundo kwaZulu Natal. Njengamanje ke umbutho ube usumnikeza umsebenzi omkhulu wokuthi abhekane nomsebenzi waka human settlements okuhlaliswa kwabantu nemisebenzi yemphakathi. Sifuna ke ukwethula phakathi kwethu uMEC uSotobe siyabonga.
No, thank you very much. Sibonge kakhulu kubaba umeya. Njomani sibonga kakhulu mfowethu. Idolobha lakithi elikhulu ngapha lisezandleni ezikahle, lisezandleni zomuntu osemusha nomuntu owazi umsebenzi. Kuyasijabulisa kakhulu ukubona imisebenzi eyenziwayo nemisebenzi ekhona kuleli dolobha ngoba liyamadolobha lidolobha kahle kahle elikhulu kakhulu makuziwa kwezomnotho. Sibonga kakhulu imisebenzi eyenziwayo nokuba khona kwakho nokuzimisela ni kanye nomkhandlu ekutheni kuthuthukiswe abantu bakithi. Sizizwa sisekhaya, alenzekanga iphutha ngokuthi sithi uma siwumbutho wesizwe bamba izintambo kuleli dolobha. Sibingelele umphathi wohlelo HOD waka Public Works ubaba Majola and the HOD waka Human Settlements Babu Zungu. Siyabingelela kakhulu ama officials wonke akhona, ama department omabili Human Settlements and Public Works. I can see akhona maningi la ama councillors ethu aqhamuka la emkhandlwini wasemhlathuze nasemkhandlwini wase King Cetshwayo as a district. Umphakathi wakithi wonke okhona la ama officials aphuma emkhandlwini yombili engiwabonayo engicabanga ukuthi akhona phakathi kwethu. Imedia yonke khona la abazokuphepha okuyikona abenza sure ukuthi siphephile sisonke. Sibingelele ubuholi benhlangano kaKhongolose, unobhala nosihlalo bakhona nobuholi obunye be region yala eMusadladla okuyiKing Cetshwayo district. Bese sibingelela ngokukhulu ukuzehlisa nokuzithoba kuyizamani NPO elidwa wena baba Mvelase. Sibonga kakhulu ukuthi sibe phakathi kwenu nabo bonke abakhona engibabonayo abanye abahleli lapha eceleni. Kuyasijabulisa kakhulu namhlanje ukuthi sizithole sila. On behalf of all categories of staff in the departments of Human Settlements and Public Works, I wish to express my appreciation to the viewers and listeners who are following us through different platforms. We convene this press briefing to inform the people of this province about progress we have made in ensuring service delivery continues in this province. It happens in Esikhaleni under your leadership, Baba Umhlong. The role they played in criticizing and guiding us and all categories of staff in both departments is a key. The people of this province have worked with us to usher in a new era. It is not a statement of arrogance, but a statement of affirmation that speed and efficiency has become our mantra. Our work is now conducted with compelling sense of speed, efficiency, hard work, honesty and integrity. The handing over of property to Zamani, it is with a deep sense of pride by Mayor and the community amongst us here that few minutes ago we will be handing over a property worth 1.4 million rands to a community organization called Zaman Disabled People Organizations. As the government of the day, we take pride, as the mayor has said, that we are really taking back what belongs to the people, back to the people. Our people have been waiting for many years for us to make sure that we affirm their existence in this country and this province, Esikhaleni as well in particular. Today we begin that journey where our people must feel that they are not just the second-class citizens in their country, but they do indeed belong to their own country. we are determined to create an enabling environment to ensure that people with disabilities have access to economic opportunities. In this province, there are approximately 544,000 people with disabilities. Men are approximately 286,000 and women are 257,000. We have a responsibility to ensure the financial wealth of this community. I'm impressed by the fact that members of Zamani are involved in clothing and textile sector. This sector is not only labor absorbing, but presents endless opportunities for women, youth, and people with disability. These are very strategic sectors that have been identified by the government of the day, led by President Ramaphosa and Premier Ubabu Zikalala. We will work with the Office of the Premier, Department of Economic Development, Tourism and Environmental Affairs, and other government entities, in particular the municipality as well, to ensure that we assist this organization to access the funding which is available under the Clothing and Textile Competitiveness Program. We are stating these issues because Honorable Premier Sihle Zikalala has mandated us to ensure that we adopt an integrated approach to create opportunities for all our communities. Our view as Public Works and Human Settlements is that it does not make sense for government departments, schools, businesses, and other sectors of society to use imported face masks and other clothing items. Let us use organizations such as Zamani, which are located at ward level. But this organization, we know very well that they belong to us because they are being run by our own people, by our own citizens. So we need to support them to grow as well. This is an area that we are focusing on as we move forward. When I took office, I offered to undertake a program focusing on utilizing our properties and state-owned land across the provinces. As the mayor has said earlier on, I have stated on several platforms that it cannot be correct that such properties and the land ends up in the hands of criminals. In various parts of KZN, including rural areas where there are public buildings and the land owned by government, Public Works is the custodian of such assets on behalf of government. We are the landlord of government as Public Works. We've got a responsibility to make sure that all these buildings and structures, land as well, is taken good care of, but also it benefits the rightful owners and the people who are the majority of this country, Africans in particular. We're unlocking the value of these properties and the land of the use by the ordinary members of society to drive their own development. At the center of all this is radical economic development, which we all know that it's part of, at the center, we've got radical economic transformation, which is what drives us for change and changing the lives of our people and making sure that the people of this country who are the majority, they're at the center of the economy. There is another property just around the corner that will hand over to another organization and other people as part of vocational training and infrastructure revolution. I have stated that as Public Works, we are continuously re-engineering our approach to assist the province and the country to grow. We are focusing on vocational training to ensure that the people of this province are appropriately skilled to take up the new opportunities we are creating in the various sectors of the economy through the delivery of infrastructure in this province. We want to make sure that Public Works go back to what Public Work used to be. Public Works was not only about delivering infrastructure, brick and mortar only, but Public Work had its element of vocational part of Public Works. Public Works used to be able to manufacture furniture for government. Public Works used to be able to fix vehicles for government. We are taking back Public Works to that element of vocational work. We'll be making sure that very soon, as we are linking up with different TVET colleges, here we are linking up with the Esikhaleni TVET College and other training institutions to ensure massive skilling of young people in Esikhaleni. This is the township that was previously ravaged by political violence. I must point out that we are here to continue with the work of former MEC Begintuli, who risked his life fighting for this freedom and democracy that we enjoy today. Mpemba lived in this township. That's why I'm mentioning him in particular. This region produced many other leaders such as Musa Dladla, Riot Mkwanazi, and Prof. Mseshi Ndlovu, to name but the three. This region, in fact, has produced a quality of leaders. It continued to contribute in the politics of this province immensely. I once myself lived in this township in the late 90s. I used to live in H2 between 1997 and 2002. I remember the mayhem going back that was unleashed by counter-revolutionaries. They were hell-bent in preventing the emancipation of all our Africans. The action resulted in brutal deaths of thousands of our young people, fathers, mothers, and sisters. And Ubabu Begintuli was part and parcel of all the struggles that were fought in this township, together with a number of our people in this township of Esekaleni. It's not by mistake that we are here in Esekaleni, but it's because we understand the contribution of the people of Esekaleni in the democracy that we are enjoying today. Who can forget the uprooting and subsequent displacement of thousands upon thousands of people, some permanently, from their well-established homes and communities, and they are being thrust into homelessness and untold misery and suffering. Indeed, who can forget the ruthless and brutal turning of neighbor against neighbor, relatively against relative, all in the name of political allegiances. Sometimes misguided political allegiances forged as the results of those who wished to maintain the prevailing apartheid-instigated status quo, the township violence that we saw in Esekaleni, going up to Onseleni. We've seen the worst in this region. One of our basic underlying mottos have been that of forgive but not forget. This basically means that we, as the previously oppressed group, are willing to forgive the atrocities that we suffered in the name of apartheid, but that in the interest of never ever again repeating the mistakes of the past, we will never forget those atrocities. For if we ever allowed ourselves to forget those past abuses, we will surely be condemned, our future generations, to a vicious cycle of repeating the very same mistakes which brought about untold misery to our country, which will surely undo the great strides we have taken thus far. Compatriots and comrades, at all times we think about the orphans and communities who were affected. That is why speed has become central in our work. When the premier of this province, Ubabu Zikalala, ayethula inkulumo yakhe yokuqala onyakeni State of the Province Address, wasitshela sonke lapha kwi-cabinet ukuthi enye yezinto ebalekile afisa ukuthi siyenze hayi ukufisa nje kuphela kodwa afuna ukuyibona yenzeka ukuthi sihambise intuthuko kubantu bakithi ngejubane. Wathi we must quicken the tempo in providing services to our people. Siyakwenza ke lokho ngoba imandate esiyinikwa upremier okuyimandate yenhlangano ebusayo, the ruling party in this country and this province. Having said that, I wish to state that I value the work of my former MECs, starting with Comrade Peggy Nkonyeni. They laid a solid foundation. We are here to state that you are raising the bar. We want it to be up there, very high. We are not saying because we have arrived in the department, then sekuzodumizulu kwenzeke zonke izinto ngemlingo. But we want to change how things have been done. We want to raise the bar a bit up and a bit higher because they've done their work. Those who will come after us must also raise the bar even higher than what we have raised the bar to be. At this stage, allow me to highlight key achievements we have made over the past 100 days. During the 100 days in office, we undertook visits aimed at assessing the rollout of social infrastructure such as schools, hospitals, and many more others. As public works, we have been mandated by the Premier of the province of KwaZulu-Natal, Sihle Zikalala, and the entire Executive Council to ensure that we speed up the rollout of socio-economic infrastructure in this province. It should be remembered that I had offered to eradicate the unnecessary red tape and prolonged construction of government infrastructure, which at times takes about between 5 to 6 years, even more. We have seen the West where construction of a school or a hospital or a housing project will take 8 years to 10 years. And we have said that can't continue. We need to quicken the tempo and provide infrastructure for our government and our people with speed. And we are moving towards that. Our officials in the departments, both departments, are committed. And it's what we want to see happening. Our people can't continue waiting for 10 years just for a school to be completed. Can't continue to wait for 10 years just for a housing project to be completed. In times where we need to change things and how we do things. And we are committed to that. We wish to report that the facelift of Kolo Senior Primary School in Herikwala District will be completed ahead of schedule. That is quickening the tempo. With a budget of 56.7 million rands, we have created 85 job opportunities with a job from the local community. This project will be completed in December. We have attended to the issue of non-payment of contractors due to delays of payments from the department. This is the matter that I need to address. We must admit that at Public Works, we do have challenges when it comes to paying contractors on time. This is the matter that we are attending to with the officials of the department, but we have involved even the cabinet and the premier on this matter to make sure that we resolve these issues. We can't continue not being able to pay service providers on time. It's a 30-day issue, and we are dealing with it with speed and aggressively. We are killing and destroying our own people who are in business by not paying them on time. In particular, the majority of them are Africans in particular, and we can't be part of destroying and killing our businesses that are run by our people, but by any other person who run businesses in the country or in the province. We need to do things in a manner that we're supposed to be doing them. We need to be able to pay service providers on time within 30 days. We are working on it. There are challenges, but we are determined that we are going to be able to resolve those challenges. There is no bigger challenges that we can confront, and we are determined to make sure that we resolve all of them. We were impressed by the construction of Dandi Junior Secondary School under Indumeni local municipality. This school will be completed before the end of the year. It was supposed to be completed by Mayor next year, but because we have taken a different posture, that school will be completed now before the end of this year. We are quickening the tempo. We want to provide services to our people on time, but even ahead of time with speed. We'll continue to work with MEC Kwazimshengu to ensure the acquisition of knowledge by our learners as we provide and build schools for the Department of Education. We remain determined towards ensuring that Public Works becomes a center of delivery of infrastructure on behalf of all government departments. But we want to make it clear that we want Public Works to live up to the name that it has been given by the province of KwaZulu-Natal, that we are an implementing agent of choice. For us to be an implementing agent of choice, it means we must deliver services on time. We must deliver services to our people ahead of time. We must never compete with anyone. If we are said to be the implementing agent of choice, it must be you and only you. That's where we are going. We are going to work hard to achieve that. We are alive to the fact that government has identified government infrastructure as one of the most important sectors in economic recovery and job creation means. The president of this country, President Ramaphosa, made it clear that infrastructure is a flywheel in the engine of providing engine of providing infrastructure, but also towards economic recovery. And we're at the center of infrastructure development as Public Works and Human Settlement. Accordingly, we remain committed to continue to work with members of the Executive Council as leaders of their respective line function departments as our clients to ensure speed and quality in execution of projects. During the 100 days in office, I assembled a team of officials in the Department of Public Works to assess progress in the upgrade and refurbishment of Dandi Regional Laundry. This facility is servicing public health institutions in the district. Our view is that a reliable laundry service is critical in any public health institution. More than 50 million rands has been invested to upgrade the boilers, equipment, and entire structure in order to meet health standards and ensure the provision of quality health care. Our patients deserve comfort, and therefore we are conscious of the need to ensure adequate supply of clean linen to ensure the safety of our patients. Critically, our role as public works is to support the health MEC, Honorable Nomagugu Smelane Zulu, health professionals and the entire health fraternity in their quest to caution the people of this province against COVID-19. We're happy with the progress in the upgrade of the boilers, equipment, and entire building structure in order to meet the health standard in that facility. Our Bill of Rights enjoins us to ensure that the citizens of KwaZulu-Natal have access to decent housing and live in areas where there are amenities. This is the only effective way of responding to the brutal apartheid system of residential segregation and the forced removal of people from prime land which was reserved for the minority. We are constructing recreational facilities in many areas, with Dandi being a classic example. During the 100 days in office, we handed over a facility center which is now being used by emerging entrepreneurs such as women and youth in the municipality of Dandi, and we handed it with a title deed, and now it's owned by Endumeni municipality, because ours is no longer about building houses, but we are human settlements. We are also now making sure that our people, we provide them with other amenities like halls, sports facilities, and other amenities that our people need. It's all about making sure that our people do live a better life. I wish to pause and focus on the issue of consequence management. During my first weeks, we agreed with staff in both departments that consequence management will be applied to those who behave in a manner that is unbecoming, those who are in violation of the conduct of the public service, transgression of the law, or any other misconduct. By the way, in these 100 days, we have met in human settlements each and every employee who belong to human settlements, from the HOD down to the last worker in all regions and districts and offices. We have met all of them and engaged them because we want them to understand where we want to go. We have met all employees in public works, starting from HOD down to the last employees, except one region, which is this region. And for us to be here, it's again to show that we are committed to have an engagement with them, because we want to make sure that all employees in these two departments understand our direction, but also understand where this government wants to go. But the commitment that we see is really, really noted, and we are very glad to work with such capable employees. We wish to state that regarding public works, I have reports around forensic investigations. I have assessed whether there are areas where consequence management has not been applied. We can report today that we launched 16 investigations. 4 members of staff have received final written warnings and 1 dismissed. 2 were put on 3-month suspension without pay and received final written warnings. We are not here to expel people, but we are here to make sure that government is clean, government works in a manner that is supposed to be, but government is respected as well. That is our aim. 1 staff member was placed on 1-month suspension without pay and given a final written warning. 4 received verbal warning and 3 have a disciplinary action pending. The issue of consequence management is one issue that we are prioritizing, because we don't want people to think that working for government is like just being kwagogo. Ikona lento ukuthi mawusebenzela uhulumeni abantu bacabanga ukuthi kwagogo. Not in our lifetime, not under the government of the ruling party. We will make sure that we clean government. As we reflect on the 100 days in office, we are encouraged by the results of an investigation conducted by the Special Investigation Unit, the SIU, into COVID-19 infrastructure-related procurements. The investigation was conducted in the 3 field hospitals amounting to 96 million rand and 12 refurbishment projects with a total budget of 1 billion rands. The SIU confirmed that they did not find any wrongdoing on the side of the Department of Public Works, and have since closed the investigation. They lauded the department and all categories of staff for their cooperation. We stated previously that we want to develop a reputation of a department that is respected by the people because of lawful and responsible behavior of all categories of staff. We reiterate our determination to stamp out corruption and eliminate the perception of corruption in government. When evidence of actual or apparent impropriety exists in the department, we undertake to act decisively and either administratively and through the criminal justice system. I want to turn my focus to the issue of transformation of the property industry. We are not apologetic about driving radical economic transformation on this sector and in the entire department. In order to speed up the transformation, we have amended and finalized bid documents to ensure that the department is able to reserve its right not to award to bidders who have current leases with the department to the cumulative value of 80 million rands. 51% of all facilities management services are outsourced to the previously disadvantaged communities. We have successfully engaged with development financial institutions such as ITALA and KZN Growth Fund to ensure that people from previously disadvantaged groups are assisted. In this regard, we'll be signing an MOU with ITALA very soon because we are determined to transform the property sector in the department, which is currently dominated by the minorities of this country and the province. Africans are nowhere. They only have 9% stake in the entire property sector, which amounts to 55 million rands out of 800 million rands. And we say it can't continue. It has to change today, not tomorrow. We have also amended bid documents, especially around the section where a party intends submitting a bid for its own benefit, utilizing the property owned by other party, entity, or individual. The party is required to submit an original mandate from the owner of the property authorizing the use of the property by the bidder, as well as a shareholder partnership agreement, setting out the relationship between both parties and how the benefits of the lease, if awarded, will be shared between the parties. Because we want the majority to go to black, but African in particular, if we want to change the economic patterns of this country. From now onwards, 30% subcontracting will be enforced, and buildings above 900 square meters with stringent controls in terms of preventing fronting. We are finalizing the database. Leases below 900 square meters will be ring-fenced for the previously disadvantaged communities. We have decided to delay the finalization of the establishment of property owner database. With this database, our intention is to ensure some sort of exemption by National Treasury, provision of triple PFA. We want to make sure that more people, especially those who have been marginalized before, to be included in this database. You can't want to create a database, but you see that the database is not going to solve the challenges that you want to solve, and then you close that database. We are extending the time frame because we want to make sure that we include everyone on that database. The bid documents have also been amended with clauses preventing fronting through partnership. Let's join hands and fight the practice of fronting. Fronting is destroying our very own people. In fact, it's defeating the transformation that we seek to achieve as the government. Whether you talk about the national government, the provincial government, and the municipalities as well, fronting is not helping us. Our people must stop fronting because they are not benefiting from fronting. They are benefiting crumbs. And for us, it's not about crumbs, but it's about everything and making sure that we change their lives. We undertake to work with ATIA and law enforcement agencies to get those involved in this practice of fronting to be prosecuted. In addition, we will ensure that we sign a partnership agreement with the Triple BEE Commission in order to deal with fronting cases in this province. Apart from maintaining their grip on the economy, those who are involved in this practice are prolonging the suffering of black people. Africans are still marginalized as a result of apartheid policies. We want to end this, and we are determined. Nothing will deter us from making sure that we really fight this scourge of fronting and the scourge of our people where they are still marginalized and live under squalor and poverty. We also wish to report progress around the reduction of rentals by government departments. We are focusing on the maximum use of existing state facilities. We have also focused on purchasing properties and upgrade of all dilapidated state-owned properties. We have taken a decision that we are doing an audit in all municipalities in this province. We want to know how many buildings are owned by public works and who is utilizing those buildings. Some of these buildings are occupied by wrong people. Some of these buildings are illegally occupied. But also some of these buildings are dilapidating because they are not being used. We can't be the government that allows its own property while our people are living in squalor and under poverty and we don't do anything about it. We have committed ourselves, but also even when it comes to land, we have made sure that the land that is in this province owned by the government, which we are the custodian of as public works, we are auditing, want to know each and every piece of land, what is happening with it, and have plans on those pieces of land. We have ensured that 5 leases are terminated and departments have moved to state-owned offices. The Department of Social Development has moved from Liberty Towers and Eagle to Government Garage because we are cutting down the issue of renting. We are trying to save money for government. We also have 3 leases of the Department of Health terminated and have moved from privately owned buildings to hospitals. It's the commitment that we are making as the government, working with our sister departments. Health will be saving a lot of money now. We have finalized the registration of ASCs with Contractor Development Program database to CIDP. We are now firmly ensuring that targeting of specific projects to CIDP grade 1 to grade 6 only. Presently, work allocated to contractors on ASCs with Contractor Development Program. They include the following: the fencing, water and sanitation, early childhood development centers, school storm damage, maintenance, repairs and renovations, electrification, upgrades and additions. We are ring fencing these specifically for ASCs with contractors, which are our very own people who have been suffering for many years. We mean business when we say we are sustaining the implementation of the radical socio-economic transformation program through ASCs. It's not about slogans to us. It's about making sure that radical economic transformation as the policy and the resolution of a ruling party, it lives and it's seen implemented. In these 100 days, including the last financial year, we have made the following awards to various groups. Black men, we have awarded 812 million rands, which is about R1 billion, towards black men-owned companies. Black women-owned companies, 383 million rands, which is about 384 million rands. Asian women, 75 million rands. Colored men, 147 million rands. Colored women, 8.6 million rands. White men, 119 million rands. White women, 3.8 million. Other groups that are targeted, we have awarded to youth more than 221 million rands. People with disabilities, 10 million rands. The co-op that are run by men, 27 million rands. Co-op by women, it's 6 million rands. So we are really changing the picture. When you look at these figures, they will tell you that who is benefiting. Because I've said it to both departments. My interest as the MEC again, I want to know where the money is going. All these billions that are allocated to these departments, by our sister departments, by the provincial government, by the national government, where is this money going? I'm not interested in the name of the company, but I'm interested in the race. I'm not a racist, but I'm being factual. We want to know who's benefiting. Who's the end user of this money? Where is it going? It has to be our people. Others will continue to benefit, but our people must be in the majority. When I say our people, I'm talking about the majority of the people of this country. Blacks, but Africans in particular. We are determined on that. The department will be implementing an incubation program for furniture manufacturing. The process of recruiting about 20 participants is to start. The intention is to train them in different aspects of furniture manufacturing and link them to market. We have approved 1.2 million rands for this program. We'll commence with the recruitment of about 100 participants for the block and brick making program. We have had successful engagement with SIBIYA, as the institution that certifies everything that we use as the people in this country. We're accelerating the refurbishment of public works workshops at eThekwini, Vryheid, and other districts for training and incubation purposes. We'll be launching eThekwini workshop very soon, before the end of this month. These workshops have been there for years, but they were logged with machines and everything inside and were left like that. So we are opening them, we are resuscitating them, we are refurbishing the machines. We are going to be employing young people to make sure that we continue with the vocational work that was done by Public Works, but contributing as well in employment. On issues of human settlements, compatriots, allow me to turn my focus to matters of human settlements. This morning we embarked on a Siyahlola program in Mthonjaneni local municipality. We have visited many other municipalities to monitor the quality of houses being delivered, because it is as well about quality. Our people must live in good quality houses, decent houses. That is our main purpose and our focus. We have stated on many platforms that the prolonged construction of houses will no longer be tolerated. I know that we all know, Honorable Mayor and everyone who's here, that our viewers and the listeners, that it has been accepted that it can take more than 10 years to build a housing project. And I believe it's wrong. And we have agreed with officials in all these departments that it can't continue. So we are very much focused on the time frames and in particular the deliveries that we are making, the deliverables that we are making. How long does it take for us to deliver projects for our people? We have experimented about ways of speeding up the construction of houses, and we can state that we have found a winning formula. Babu Mayor, if I can tell you, we are capable of building a house in 2 weeks and complete it now, because we've been experimenting and experiencing different ways of doing things, because we want to quicken the tempo and provide services with speed. Last week, on a Sunday, we visited Okahlamba municipality to hand over keys to Gogo Mazibuko, a 90-year-old citizen. Her house was constructed within 2 weeks. It means if we can do it in one house, we can do it everywhere. And that is the work that we are doing as this department. Human settlement has mastered it. We are getting better each and every day. Each and every week, we want to improve the speed. There are things that I must raise here, that I know they can hinder our progress, that we need to change as government, starting from the national level. There are some policies that slow our progress. If we don't deal with these policies, our progress will continue to be slow. There are policies that are there, but some of them, you can safely say, they are not necessary. Some of them you can say, they can be done differently. Some of them we can say, they cannot take as the longest of times as they are doing right now. Some of the policies are stopping our progress and the speed that we want to have. I believe as government, we've got a responsibility starting from national to review some of the policies. Some of these policies are 27-year-old. Some of them are 30-year-old. So we can't, continue using some of these policies. If we don't move with times, time will leave us behind. And once we are left behind, service delivery and progress for our people will be stagnated, and we won't move forward. And ours is to move forward. Sifuna ikusasa lingafani nayizolo. We want to change things. We always say, asikwazi ukuba nabazali bethu abazalela enhluphekweni, bakhulele enhluphekweni, bafele enhluphekweni. Nathi sizalele enhluphekweni, sikhulele enhluphekweni, sifele enhluphekweni. Same thing with iy'ngane zethu, ngisho sekukhona thina, kanti senzani thina? What becomes our work? We must change it. We must change it with speed, so that our people see that there is change. But that's what our government wants. That's what the ANC as a ruling party wants to see, because that's where I'm mandated and that's where I'm getting my mandate. On this day, we wish to salute the majority of the implementing agents for their improved performance. We are calling upon others to learn from their peers. Admittedly, there are still challenges with some municipalities that are failing to deliver on time. We will not hesitate, but Mayor, to act swiftly. This includes where there is failure by our municipalities, because we are the custodian of building human settlements in this province. We are not building houses only. We are human settlements. We are the custodians. We've got the responsibility. We allocate money even to those municipalities with developer status. We have taken a very bold decisions that any municipality that fails to deliver will take away the developer status. We'll do those projects ourselves because we've got capacity ourselves. So that's the radical posture that we are taking, because our people can't continue waiting. At the end of the day, it becomes human settlements who will be blamed. We'll be told we are not delivering on times while we are waiting for municipalities to build houses on our behalf. We give them money. We are coming from Mtonjanen. We have given them 108 million rands. But up until today, since 2016, not a single house has been opened. And we can't continue. We are being frank about it. We are being honest about it. And I don't think that's what our people want. The days of isolated pocket of housing delivery are over. We are building new towns, not just houses. And we stand firm that all new projects must include social amenities, such as community halls, sports grounds, schools, and clinics. That's why we are now human settlements. We are no longer Department of Housing. We deal with the entire comprehensive issues of human settlements. I wish to pay tribute to our staff members across the province in various regions and offices and districts. For ensuring that we deliver the following with speed. Within this 100 days in human settlement, we have delivered 1,554 sites, 3,456 housing units. In addition, there are 2,921 units which are under various stages of construction. This includes 990 in the foundation phase, 995 wall plates, 976 that are on roof. What does these figures mean? They actually indicate that on average, 35 units were delivered each day over the past 100 days in office. On average, 16 sites were delivered each day over the past 100 days in office. We also delivered 102 finance-linked individual program FLISP subsidies over the same period, which is a very strategic program that our people must use and take advantage of, as well as the service sites. I must say, Babu Mayor, that we've been to different areas. We've been to Masnenge, where we found one of our projects that again was not in a good space. The department took a decision to take over the projects. We are running that project because we want the people of Masnenge to live in decent houses. We've been to Mtuba last week, where we introduced a women contractor, black African contractor, to build 100 units in Mtuba. We've got a good story to tell in Umsinga, where we have seen a young boy who is going through a process, and health process. He's sick because he's got cancer. So we have given him a very decent house, where today he lives in a house where even his health condition is being taken care of in a very good way than what it used to be. We've been to Hluhluwe, where we went there to see a family of about 49 people living in one 4-roomed house, which was an RDP house. We've intervened, we've built a temporal structure there. We'll be continuing to intervene in that family because we are moving with speed. But we are doing all these things under the leadership of the Premier Zigalala. If you talk about our Premier, some might not know. He doesn't play games. He wants delivery now. He doesn't want excuses. He doesn't wait for you to explain why you can't do things. He wants you to tell him how are you going to do things. That's the kind of a leader that we're having. That's why we are all inspired, because our premier wants to see us providing services. The interventions that we have done through our OSS program within these 100 days are massive. Quite a lot of speed has been seen through our OSS projects, through the Department of Human Settlements, because that's where we've tested quite a lot of things that we have been doing. And we believe continuing like this, indeed, will see change. We remain committed towards strengthening the social rental housing sector to accommodate the low to middle income rental market sector. When I assumed my duties, I undertook to ensure that SHI continues to be a delivery vehicle for rental houses. We're excited that we have managed to get 5 SHI registered by social housing regulatory authorities, meaning we are going to be seeing progress on that one. During the first few weeks in office, I also undertook to unblock the Rocky Park Community Residential Unit CRUs. In this regard, an agreement was concluded in mid-April. This paved the way for construction to commence. With site establishment date being the May 2021, we wish to report that the project is progressing very well. I know even in this municipality, we've got one of our flagship projects, Babu Mayor, that we are having as Human Settlements, a massive project that is going to yield thousands of housing units, and we are very grateful to work with the municipality. Another notable achievement is the project that is in Tlalagahle, the CRU project. The enrollment for this project, which consists of 336 units, was completed in May. About 121 million has been set aside for this project. The achievement of this milestone means that an NHBRC inspector has been allocated to this project, and that the contractor can now proceed with construction of blocks. This project was launched by the Premier on the 5th of March 2021. We're upgrading apartheid constructed government-owned communal rental accommodation called hostels. I know we've got a lot here in Sekawini. And looking back, when I arrived here in 1997 and what I see today, I see a huge difference. A huge difference. But I know there is always a room for improvement. This is part of facilitating the provision of security and stable rental tenure for lower income groupings earning between 800 rands and 3,500 rand per month. We wish to report the completion of 404 new CRU units in Jigajo in Umsunduzi municipality. Ordinary members of community are currently taking occupation. We have appointed 2 service providers to conduct conditional assessment for 2 hostels, one in Ndumeni municipality and the other one in Watuguza municipality. This work will inform the upgrading of the 2 hostels. We have registered 6 new social housing projects on the SHRA pipeline, which with a total potential yield of about 3,000 houses or units. These projects are expected to be approved for the consolidated capital grant funding within the current financial year. The social housing construction in the Majuba district is expected to result in about 1,056 new social housing units. The following projects are new CRU projects at construction stages. The N11 CRU projects with a total yield of 540 units, the Kokstad CRU projects, total yield of 300 units, Ubuhlebetu CRU projects with a yield of 150 units. We wish to report the finalization of procurements by eThekwini for the Donali CRU projects, which consists of 128 units. The contractor was appointed in May 2021 for construction to commence. The project home enrollment is currently being dealt with by NHBRC as we speak. The department in collaboration with the SHRA will soon finalize a provincial social housing demand study. This will be for all approved projects and restructuring zones in the province, excluding eThekwini Metro. This will assist us to guide social housing planning in the near future in the province. I must say as well, we have taken a decision that we are not going to be a department, or I'm not going to be an MEC who's going to go out everywhere launching projects to a Gvulwi Soy, while we've got quite a number of projects that we haven't finished. We want to make sure that we finished and complete all the commitments that have been made over the years before we move forward. Because our people believe we are just promising them houses, but we are unable to build them. And we can't be a government of lies. We need to make sure that we deal with the backlog that is in the department. And these officials are working tirelessly to make sure that we deal with that backlog. The last issue around the CRUs is the collaboration with the SHRA. The regulator has made project feasibility grant funding available for the appointment of heritage architects. This will be for 2 projects in eThekwini inner city catalytic projects affected by AMAFA legislation. We want to enhance the planning and approval of development plans for the 2 projects, where all buildings are to be converted to the development of social housing projects. We all know it was not by mistake to have Esikaleni being this far from Empangeni or Richards Bay town. It was deliberate because our people had to be moved away from the cities and towns so that they don't get to mix with people of other races, in particular whites. It was one strategic discriminative policy the apartheid government implemented. Whether you go to Umlazi, you go everywhere. Our people don't have places or houses in the inner city or the inner towns. Wherever you go, whether you talk about Richards Bay 14, you talk about Empangeni, our people never had anything there. We never had houses there. Go to eThekwini, our people had nothing there. We are changing that picture now. You will see that I will make an example with this area of Empangeni or this municipality. When you are from Richards Bay up until you arrive at Esikaleni, there is nothing for our people that is of human settlements in nature. Literally, there is nothing. But there is huge piece of land in between. You ask yourself, why Esikaleni was built so far? That huge piece of land was made and set to be a buffer to prevent our people from interacting with others. So we are using those spaces now to build houses for our people to be closer to their places of work, to change the picture. But again, at the city centers, we are taking other buildings, we are converting them, like in eThekwini. We are taking quite a number of buildings. Those buildings, we are converting them, they are going to be used for our people. That's where our people are going to be staying. Staying at the city center. Who said they can't stay in the city center? They deserve to be there. Our people have to pay quite a large sum of money for transport every month. They earn nothing, they earn less, they don't work in a manner we would want them to have decent jobs currently because of the difficulties that we see with our economy. But they still have to pay quite huge sums of money. So we need to change that picture by making sure that our people are able to live closer to their workplace. We affirm our commitments towards the acceleration of the title deeds rollout program throughout the corners of the province. We are guided by the Freedom Charter, which proclaims, and I quote, all people shall have the right to live where they choose, be decently housed, and to bring up their families in comfort and security, unquote. Inspired by the Freedom Charter, we'll accelerate the title deeds rollout program to ensure that ordinary members of the communities own their own houses. What the Honorable Mayor was saying earlier on, that we have never owned anything. But we are saying now, as this government of the day, the ruling party has got a decision, has got policies. We are implementing these policies as government. Our people must start owning something. But property in particular and land is at the center of what our people want to own, and economy. Those are the 3 strategic, I think all we agree, sectors that we need our people to start owning. It's property, it's land, and it's economy. And we have started, as this Department of Human Settlements, to give ownership to our people when it comes to issue of their houses and property. We have registered great progress around the handing over of title deed. As democratic government, we believe that our main task is about placing real assets in the hands of the poor. Over the past 100 days, we have handed over about 5,000 title deeds It's 4,800 title deeds that we have handed over back to our people in the past 100 days. There are more than 205, by the way, would have loved to have 5,000 handed over within 500 days. But due to time and other issues, the 205 will be handed over very soon, I know. So you can safely say we have handed over more than 5,000 title deeds as the Department of Human Settlements. Our target is more than 11,000 title deeds by the end of this year. But you can note that within 100 days, we have handed over about 5,000. It means we'll go very far. We want to make sure that we go beyond expectations because our people expect that. They expect us to do and go beyond the call of duty. And that's what we're doing. In handing over title deeds to communities, we are improving not only their lives, but we are ensuring prosperity for future generations, families that are more secure to contribute towards social stability. Compatriots, my intention today was not to give a budget vote, but to account to the people of this province for the work that we have done over the past 100 days. We wish to acknowledge that the issue of payments of service providers by public works remains an issue. We are tackling it head on, as I've said earlier on. We value the support of the Premier and members of the Executive Council. We have ongoing discussions with client departments that are owing us millions of rands. We have made them understand that it is the services, it is the service providers and their families that are suffering. But also it is our people who will suffer by not getting their services on time, because ours is to provide infrastructure for the province. We understand that supply chain management is at the center of government efforts aimed at ensuring economic recovery and creation of jobs for millions of our people. For our responsibilities, we continue to monitor the performance of SCM in districts, region, and head office in the public works and both human settlements. We are monitoring whether they are meeting agreed targets on key performance areas. Because if we are unable to meet targets on key performance areas, it means we are failing our duties. If myself as MEC am unable to meet the agreements that I'm having with the Premier, it means the Premier can easily recall me. If officials, same thing, they are unable to meet the targets that we have agreed upon, it means again, why can't they feel the same wrath? Because we've got agreements on key performance indicators and areas. It's what we agreed upon, and we should work as that. It shouldn't be about politicians only, MECs, presidents, and mayors and premiers only. Everybody. We've got a responsibility, all of us. We have agreed that there will be consequences for shoddy performances across all categories of staff. We have enlisted the services of Treasury to strengthen the weaknesses in our SCM. Treasury is also assisting us to use the cutting-edge technology to track invoices in order to deal with this matter once and for all, because it can continue. We can't be a department that is known as the department that is unable to pay service providers on time. What kind of government is that? And it's done by us. It's not the policy of government not to pay service providers on time, but it's done by us. When I say us, I start by myself as MEC, down to the last official. We need to change it. It can continue. We continue to warn that any delay in processing of invoices, either deliberately or due to demands for bribes, will result in criminal charges laid against any employee in the department. We are calling on members of the public and emerging entrepreneurs to report such employees in order for government to take immediate action. We have heard of stories, Mayor, that some officials, they demand money from service providers before they process their invoices. And it can't happen. Not in this government. We need to deal with such. As I conclude, I want to salute all categories of staff in the Department of Public Works and Human Settlements. I salute them for assisting me to fulfill the mandate bestowed on me as an elected public representative. I have seen workers showing determination to use resources in the hands of the state to uplift disadvantaged communities. Since we ushered in freedom, the governing party has always sought to create a country in which all can experience and improve quality of life and enjoying equal human rights with access to opportunities. I really salute these officials because the support that I've received from them, but also the understanding that I see from them is just immense, and we see that we've got capable employees and capable officials who can take these two departments forward. I'm very grateful to have the team that I'm having in those two departments. They are just an A team. On this day, I wish to salute the workers for promoting the legacy and values of Tata Nelson Mandela. During his years as a leader, after his long period of imprisonment, Madiba became a shining beacon of hope for the downtrodden of the world. He was a living symbol of the triumph of the human spirit against adversity. Tata Madiba deservedly won the Nobel Peace Prize and went on to lead South Africa as the country's first truly democratically elected president with dignity, honesty, and integrity. He became the champion of good governance. Mandela stood for equality for all. Mandela stood for the rule of law. Mandela stood for liberation of all people in South Africa, black and white, men and women of this country. Mandela stood for human dignity, which I believe we've got a responsibility to provide. As we are gathered here today, we recommit ourselves as servants of the people, inspired by the values of Madiba, to intensify our efforts to restore the dignity of our people. We are all reminded that Tata Madiba believed that the state was the only instrument available to ensure a better life for all, for our people. Prior to 1994, the public service was characterized by a poor quality of services, inefficiencies, lack of commitment, and no respect for the majority of its citizens. In addition, the public service that was appendage to an illegitimate government was not accountable to anyone except to its own minority. Today, we've got people who have easily forgot where we come from. Today, we've got people who are saying it was better where we are coming from. I always remind our people to say, some of us who are coming from rural areas, Babu Mhlo, when I grew up, our fathers used to work in Johannesburg. They will leave our mothers and grandmothers with us. We were young by then. We will wait for them to come at least twice a year back home. You will only see your father twice a year. Marriages collapsed because of that. But beyond that, we never had anything. They didn't have money. They didn't have asset. They didn't have anything. They didn't have wealth. Our fathers could only afford to bring back, I always say, babe phathi inyama yangaphakathi namaswidi, and it ends there, sijabule, and thinking everything is there. We couldn't even have decent houses. Abazali bethu couldn't build houses. Sakhula endlini zodaka thina. Because obaba babesebenza ey'ndaweni zaseGoli ezayingabaholeli ngalutho. Bebasobhayela beshanela kodwa kuthiwa kwakungcono ngaleso sikhathi. Sasihlala endlini zodaka eyiwayo. We must never forget easily. We must never forget easily. Even today, that history is still there. That's why we've got so much work to do as this government. Our municipalities are working hard to deliver. The entire government system is working hard to deliver. But the competition is too much. Competing needs. We need to deliver roads. We need to deliver houses. We need to deliver water. We need to deliver schools. We need to deliver clinics. We need to deliver hospitals. We need to deliver roads. We need to deliver everything at one time. Because the backlog was massive. We can't do it at one time, but we are moving forward. Whether you like it or not, you can see that we are indeed moving forward. There is evidence. We are not telling stories, but there is evidence that we are moving forward. The educational health system by then was built on apartheid ideology and was characterized by racial and geographic disparities. Under apartheid government, decisions were mainly of a top-down nature. This enabled little or no input from government employees at lower ranks, who operated at coalface and interacted with broad population. Also, there was no formal way of consultation with organized labor. When we were growing up, we never thought, some of us, that electricity was meant for black people. When I was growing up, I thought black people don't deserve electricity because it's how we're shaped. But today, we're electrifying all areas. We have electrified more than 80% of this country as the government of the day, and we continue to do that. I'm just raising it because we must remind each other where we're coming from and where we're going. The organizational culture in the civil service and nature of the formal and informal training given to civil servants entrenched a very rigid style of thinking. Literal thinking was discouraged, as this would inevitably have led to a questioning attitude. Officials were focusing on administering and entrenching the dictates of apartheid ideology. When we met with all the employees and officials in the two departments, I've made it clear that their views matters in the department. I've challenged everyone that we need to think out of the box. We must be innovative. We must go out and research, bring new ideas in the department. They are welcome. That's how we're working, because we believe in these employees. You can't employ them and then you don't give them space to work. Once again, we remain inspired by the workers in both departments for assisting us to ensure that we all embarked on a process designed to fundamentally reshape the public service to fulfill its role in the new dispensation. Once again, I wish to thank the Honorable Premier Sihle Zikalala for being exemplary in his conduct. I thank all members of the Executive Council for always being available to guide me and assist me. I thank members of the Portfolio Committee from all political parties for their robust oversight role. I always learn from them, and we are committed to always subject ourselves to the Portfolio Committees. I thank my party, the African National Congress, and the members of the organization for always reminding me of what this organization was created to achieve. Without the ANC, we wouldn't be where we are. We are grateful to the ANC for giving us an opportunity to serve. I thank my wife, my family, neighbors, and the people of Ngutu always. I know you'll know I'll mention them. For their support, they made some of us. I remain inspired by the people of KwaZulu-Natal who demand nothing but what belongs to them. As an elected public representative, I offer to do my best to live up to their expectations, not tomorrow, but today. I thank you. Siyabonga kakhulu.
Asimnikeni ihlombe umhlonishwa ngenkulumo yakhe nohlonze ethulela isizo sokuthi leminyango yombili yenzeni einsukwini eziyikhulu. Siyabonga kakhulu Sotoba. Ngizocela ubaba uMthembu eze ngaphambili ukuba azomukela i-title deed nokuyisiqinisekiso sokuthi uhulumeni ukunikeza ubunikazi balesakhiwo nizamani NPO la esikhaleni.
Siyabonga kakhulu. Baba uNjomane, NPO, Baba Umvelase, OHOD, bonke abakhona. Namhlanje sesifike esikhathini esicabanga ukuthi sibalulekile kakhulu. We ningasdisturb. Namhlanje kuyasijabulisa kakhulu ukuthi sifike la esikhaleni kwi-NPO ebizwa ngezamani. Njengoba sathatha isinqumo siwuhulumeni ukuthi izinhlaka zikahulumeni ezikhona noma izindlu noma ama-buildings kahulumeni izakhiwo ezikhona azikwazi ukuhlala nje zingasetshenziswa, kodwa futhi njoba eka saxoxa sasho la nobaba meya ikusho ukuthi okwabantu kufanele kubuyele ebantwini. Sibuyisela kwabantu ebantwini njengo public works, sibonga abasebenzi bomnyango bakwa public works sibamsene nabo ekutheni namhlanje sizonikezela ngetayitela kule NPO izamani ngokusemthethweni ukuthi lesi sakhiwo sekuyesenu, akekho yophinda nikhiphe kusona. Nali itayitela lenu nizosebenzela kusona nenze imisebenzi eniqhubekayo niyenze. Siyanibongela kakhulu ukuthi uhulumeni waKwaZulu Natal uLeader uPrimus Zikalala nokaZwelonke ngaphansi kaBaba Ramaphosa imisebenzi esiyenzayo sifuna ukwenza imisebenzi ebonakalayo, kungagcini kuxoxwa izitori nezinganekwane, kodwa sithi nakho kuyenzeka, kodwa futhi kwenzeka kubantu bakithi ezindaweni zabantu bakithi. Siyanibongela kakhulu.
Baba Mvelase usuzobongela ke izamani.
Sanibonani. Sanibonani. Ngesikhathi ehla uSotobe lapha ya uthe asizelanga ukuzohlala sizele ukuzosebenza. Nami ke cha ngimbonile uSotobe. Siyabonga kakhulu uthando onalo. Siyacabanga ukuthi nenhlangano esinikeze wena yenzanga iphutha yenze okufanele. Mhlambe umuntu ufisa nje ukuthi siyayibongela izamani kuhambo olude sifikela noma ke kungaba ukuthi sifika la singasaphelele abafowethu abanye basishiya endleleni, kodwa thina sisekhona mhlawumbe umuntu ufuna ukuzwakalisa ukubonga kuhulumeni wethu okwaziyo ukunakekela lonke uhlobo lomuntu. Uma ubuka umuntu okhubazekile sithi thina umphakathi usibuka ngeso esingazi noma uyasibona noma usiboni Sotobe. Kodwa ke ekujuleni kwahulumeni namehlo kahulumeni sibonga kakhulu ukuthi uyakwazi ukusibona sikuleso simo sikhubazekile sinjalo. Ngifisa ukuthi sizibongele kakhulu. Uqedile MEC iziningi izinto ayishilo. Siyawabonga ama department, siyawubonga umsebenzi ongaka. Mhlambe umuntu ufuna ukudlulisa lokho nje ukuthi swela amazwi okubonga, kodwa siyabonga kakhulu. Bengimthembisileke umeya noSotobe ukuthi khona into uma sisihlukana sizawumnikeza yona. Siyofisa ukuthi leyo nto Sotobe siyokunikeza yona uhlale nayo lapha emzini wakho, ungayidluliseli komunye umuntu, ngoba senzela ukuthi uma ubona yona ukwazi ukubona thina, ngoba uma ike yasuka ebusweni bakho kuyoba likhuni ukuthi mhlawumbe usikhumbule. Mningi kakhulu imisebenzi enenzayo bengafisa ukuthi isondele mhlambe leyo nto kuncane khona, kodwa nje Sotobe engahambi engaphethe lutho. Umeya ngimboni la uNjomani Sotobe eminye yemisebenzi esiyenzayo sikunikeza amakhushini amabili. Sicabanga ukuthi nomeya naye uzothola into efanayo. Khona nomfundisi la uma ngaphosisi wase 1 KZN angazi noma ukhona umncwango obekhona sehambile. Hayi kusho ukuthi uma sehambile ke seyobuya kulande. Kodwa nje yilokho esinakho Sotobe. Siyabonga baba kakhulu.
sifuna ukubonga senze sethembisa esisodwa la ngoba manje sesinikezwe amakhushini la. Ngeke aye kwenye indawo azoya kwaSibiya lapha enquthe esilutshana. Siyasenza leso sethembiso. Futhi ayohlala esikhumbuzisa nina njalo ngoba niyabantu bakithi esibathandayo kakhulu futhi. Esisazophinde sibuye sizonivakashela. Ngifuna ukwenza enye commitment la. Ngicabanga ukuthi sonke siyasibona isakhiwo ukuthi sinjani. Senze commitment right now with the HOD ukuthi lesi sakhiwo sizosirenovate sipendwe sibe sihle. That is the commitment. Sizos hand over namhlanje kodwa kusho ukuthi sesihamba siyaphuma siyagcina la ekhaya. Kodwa kusho isiqalo se relationship yethu nani ukuthi sizonilekelela nje ukuthi sisibuse kahle akubona umsebenzi omkhulu kakhulu kodwa sizonilekelela kube isakhiwo esisesimene esikahle nani uma niza kusona ekseni uvuke nje wazi ukuthi la engiyakhona kuhamba kahle kubalulekile ukusebenzela endaweni oyithandayo ukusebenzela kuyo. Siyabonga kakhulu ungafani nabantu abafana nabadlali beChiefs abadlisa iteam njalo no sorry bengisho bengikhuluma nje ngidlula. Siyabonga kakhulu, thank you very much. Siyabonga.
Sibonga kakhulu. Sibonga kakhulu ngicabanga sesifika amaphethelweni ohlelo namhlanje. Ngizwile ukuthi khona ifinga lunch ekhona la. Sizohlukana iteshi kuthiwa sizoba mbili. Asihambeni sobamba umoya nje lapha bese siyakhululeka. Sibonga kakhulu. Oh. Ngizwile njalo bamvelasa ukuthi cha bathe nali ikhekhe. La utho MEC icela ukucelebrate kanye nani la. Likhona la ikhekhe amakhosazana azolivula libonakala. Ikhekhe nje leli likhulu impela lona. Nami ngiyacabanga ukuthi ngizolithola ithuba lokulidla leli khekhe.